everybody. This should be, hopefully, the last video for the week. Okay, but there may be another video. Depends on how much I talk into this video. Okay, but this is going to be video 7, part 5 of the notes for week 4. Video 7, part 5 of the notes for week 4. Okay, so last one, we're talking about new cycles. This is the carbon cycle. Okay, less sinks than the other places. Again, sinks, not like a kitchen sink. This is where things are collecting. Okay, so one spot is going to be our soil carbon. Okay, that is a sink for our carbon within the carbon cycle. Another one is the oceans. Big one. Oceans. Ocean sediment, terrestrial rock, and the atmosphere. Okay, those are a big. Oh, sorry, last one. Plants. Okay, now I know this is kind of changed up a little bit different. Okay, but these are our big sinks. Okay, soil carbon, oceans, ocean sediment, terrestrial rock, atmosphere, and plants. I'll talk about why those are sinks in just a second. Okay, some of the movements for each of the sinks. Okay, one way is weathering, as it says, weathering terrestrial rock. Weathering. The rocks are already going to have carbon in them. As they break down, as they weather, they're going to release that carbon into the soil. Soil, of course, is just broken up bits of rock. Okay? And other things too. It's a little complicated. I took a whole class on it, but simply it's just bits of rock. Okay? In organic matter. And organic matter making it soil. So soil is going to get carbon from the rock as it weathers. Okay? It can go one of two ways. It can continue and fossilize, which we see with fossil fuels and stuff like that, or it can decompose, so microbes can pick up that carbon, decompose it. Sorry, yell under there. Decompose, and then that gets released in different ways. Okay, it can get respirated, so microbes can pick up that carbon, respirate, which means breathing. Okay, it releases that, and it releases it back in the atmosphere. Okay, same thing with animals like us. When we breathe out, we're releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Okay, same thing with microbes. Another way of movement. Okay, they can move through the atmosphere to plants. Okay, so plants can pick up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into the plants. That's why plants are a sink. Okay, they can pick up and collect that and keep it in them. That's a phrase called carbon sequestration. You don't need to know that really, but that's when plants hold in carbon. It can move by runoff. So the soil carbon that was decomposed by the microbes can run off, leach out into the ocean. That's going to be a big issue. We'll talk about that issue in just a second, but that's going to be a really big issue. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is from a textbook. Okay, I think this is from the biology textbook that I'm using. Here's the problem. It's wrong. I was so excited when I saw that it was wrong. Okay, because I've never seen a mistake like this in a textbook like this. Okay. See what you can see real quick. What do you think's wrong? Here's what's wrong. Okay. When you look at the ocean, it has marine respiration and marine photosynthesis. However, the arrows are pointing in the wrong direction. Marine photosynthesis is not giving carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it's taking carbon dioxide. Should be just like plants. Should be taking carbon dioxide. Marine respiration should be giving carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The arrows are wrong. I was so excited when I saw that they were wrong. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. So yeah, it's stupid, I know. But bear with me. Maybe you thought that was cool. I don't know. Another thing is absorption. This is going to be a big one. It's missing that on here. But it's going to be another little arrow from the atmosphere to the ocean. The ocean takes up a lot of carbon dioxide, and they do this to balance different pressures within the atmosphere. as more carbon dioxide goes in the atmosphere, the ocean's going to suck up a lot of carbon dioxide. That's going to cause a big issue. Okay, I'm not really going to talk about the ocean sediments, the uplifting. Ocean sediments are going to fall to the bottom. Okay, as plates move, it's going to get uplifted and it's going to turn around. More microbes are going to decompose and respirate, and they're going to respirate and go the other way, and they're going to decompose and they're going to create more CO2 or carbon into the ocean. Okay, human impact. Why it's important. Emissions. Okay, that's going to be here and here. We get the fossil carbon. We burn that fossilized carbon, the fossil fuels we use. That's going to release CO2 in the atmosphere. We've talked about that. It's going to increase atmospheric CO2 levels. Now, we talked a little bit just a second ago about when we get more of this stuff in the atmosphere, CO2 in the atmosphere, the oceans are going to take some of that in. That's going to be an issue because it's going to acidify the ocean. Okay, this is how we get those issues. The ocean's going to absorb more of that CO2 as pressures change, and it's going to decrease its pH level. It's going to become acidic, which is going to lead to higher mortality within fish, higher habitat loss of fish populations or wherever fish are living, including coral reefs. Okay, coral reef bleaching and die-offs are going to be caused by increased amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Because the oceans are acidifying, they're going to be breaking down and they're going to be changing the life as we know it within the ocean. Okay. Last one is going to be deforestation. Okay, the three impacts we have here. Deforestation. How is that going to be it? Well, plants are they're sucking up CO2. They're taking in carbon sequestration. Okay, remember that word, carbon sequestration. They're taking up that carbon. So if we start cutting down plants, there's going to be less photosynthesis happening, which means there's going to be more CO2 in the air because there's not enough plants to suck up that CO2. The more plants we take down, more plants we take, the less amount of CO2 is going to be sucked out of the atmosphere and sequestered, held within those plants. Okay? So, should be the last slide. For the cycle assignment, again, is a little brief overview. If you want a different way of looking at it or a different one to look at, it's going to be in the previous video about the weekly assignments. Okay, so that was video 2 for this week. So what you're going to do, we just talked about 3 different cycles. You're going to pick one of those new cycles. You're going to do, for the first part, you're going to draw whatever cycle you want. Okay, nitrogen, phosphorus, carbon, whichever one. Sorry, another yawn. Hopefully the last one for the video. You're going to draw that cycle. Then you're going to define all the words involved with that cycle. All the words meaning all of the sinks. You're going to define what each of those are. Okay. You're going to define all the movements. Okay. Weathering. What is weathering? What is decomposition? What is respiration? Okay. What is ocean sediment? I guess you don't have to define the sinks necessarily. Mostly the movements. You're going to define the movements. So I'm going to rephrase that. You're defining the movements. What is weathering? What is decomposition? What is respiration? Those things. Okay, what do those mean? You're going to pick one of those cycles. You're going to draw it. You're going to define the movements of that cycle. Just like we did for the water cycle one a couple months ago. Part 2. What you're doing. New cycle. Different cycle than what you did in the first one. Okay? You're going to take a photograph. Either you find one online or you take one in person. And you describe how that photo represents a part of that cycle. One that comes to mind that I think of is plants. Okay, take a photo of a plant. How do plants relate to a cycle? There you go. That's it. Probably going to be about a paragraph on that one. Okay. The last part, you're going to take the remaining cycle you haven't talked about in the previous 2 parts, and you're going to talk about how humans impact that cycle. Okay? Not how they impact us, but how have we impacted that cycle. Okay? So within that, what have we done? What are we currently doing? What can go wrong within that impact of that cycle? Okay? Again, there can be a Dropbox for this. I'll make an assignment up for you. So you guys should just be able to look at that assignment and go through. There'll be more description on the assignment. be able to look through, turn it in, get it done there. Okay, if you have any questions, please email me. There's my email there. This will be the last video for the week, so you have 2 assignments due, the drawing journaling activity, and then this assignment here. So if you have any questions, please let me know, but if not, I will catch you next week, or office hours. We'll see about that, 10 a.m., 11 to 11 a.m. on Friday. So, all right, we're a little bit over. I'll cancel it right now, okay? All right, bye-bye.